Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle from A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. This is the show where we like to talk that real talk. We talk about things that are happening in education, employment, mental health, physical health, finance, families, social services, or anything else that is steamy. We've been doing this show for a while now, so I don't know where y'all been, but we've already been doing this. But if you are new to the program, I welcome you. So this program is intended to educate you, and I believe that when guests tell their life stories, when they share their points of view, that in itself is an educational tool. And that is what this show is about. Talking that real talk, talking that steamy stuff, but all in the name of education and learning and entertainment, hopefully. And today is no different. I am excited about this topic because I'm hoping that we get down and dirty here. So let's get right into it. Let me get my banner. So today's topic is religious discrimination. So this is an interesting territory that we're going into. And, I feel that now is the time to have these discussions, especially now that for those of us who follow Christianity, Lent is starting to wrap up. For those of the Muslim faith, Ramadan just began on April 4th, 2022, depending on when you're watching this episode. So it's March and April. Those tend to be the I guess the holy months. I don't know if that's appropriate to say. But so now is an interesting time to be talking about religious discrimination because February, March, April, those tend to be the fasting months for a lot of the religions. So this is definitely an interesting point of time to be having this discussion. And I have a guest with me who is going to help me out. She is actually a returning guest. She is coming back to the hot seat. She loves this hot seat so much, blah, 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 that she has decided to return, and I am honored that she's willing to do this again. Her name is Zaakirah Muhammad, and I'm going to just remind you about who she is. Forgive me, guys. I am all over the place. So let's get right to it. Oh, I spelled her name wrong again. Whoops. Okay, I'm just going to make that quick correction. Okay, who is Zaakirah Muhammad? Let me remind you about who she is. So Zaakirah Muhammad has more than 10 years of professional photography and branding experience. She empowers people to step outside of their comfort zone through her gift of visual storytelling. Zaakirah is also the CEO and founder of Focused Media Group, that's focused with a PH, that empowers and supports the growth of minority-owned businesses. She has overcome many challenges, including cancer and autoimmune disease, to establish herself in an innovative voice in the marketing industry. Fabulous. So I am going to bring her to the stage. Hello again. How you doing?
I'm good, Gabrielle. Thank you so much for having me. Three times the charm, right?
I know, absolutely. Thank you for being a returning guest, especially for the third time. That is awesome. All right, so this is an interesting time of year to be having this discussion. So let's get right into it. So I want to get your perspective about religious discrimination. So you know the drill. I'm going to hand the baton over to you, and I'm just going to have you dive right in.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Zaakirah Muhammad, and my middle name is Naya. My first name is Arabic for the hereafter. My middle name is Arabic for bright light, and my last name actually is Muhammad. And with my last name being Muhammad, I am a practicing Muslim. I've been a practicing Muslim all of my life. My mom and my dad converted to the religion of Islam from the religion of Christianity, and I've been a creative all my life as well. I've been blessed to travel, see the world. Our family believe in the school of life, and I take all that knowledge and expertise with me, and bundle it up into the lemonade that life had given me with cancer and being hard of hearing and being visually impaired as well, and not letting it hold me back, but continue to let it be a stepping point and a turning point and a life lesson for me to continue to teach other women entrepreneurs, women moms, womenpreneurs to continue to really step outside of their comfort zone and truly educate and empower and inspire others to see life differently.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into the topic. So, can you talk more about how religious discrimination applies to you?
Yes, so I think the first example that really come to my mind is um first, I wear a headscarf, right? I wear a headscarf, and it's my choice, really, out of modesty. Some Muslim women you may see, like Amal Clooney. There's some Muslim women that they are practicing Muslim, but you wouldn't know that by just simply looking at them, right? So as women, we tend to get discriminated first and foremost with the headscarf. The Olympian, who also the fencing Olympian, who had to deal with the discrimination of her headscarf. I think that's the first discrimination that a lot of Muslim women tend to face first and foremost. The second discrimination has been through um, job searching and even just the appearance of the name Muhammad. It was tragic that so many things have changed from perspectives from post September 11, 2001, but things have kind of shifted just a little bit more positively in 2020, from March 2020, just to have a better understanding. Of not to really separate, to be able to separate the religion of Islam, which literally means peace, from anything negative, right? So between the head wrap and the name, and also really depending on where you're from. There's some countries in the east that are predominantly Muslim countries, and so by the time most Muslims come to the west, which is the U.S., it sometimes the outfits tend to get discriminated, because men wear dresses too. They're not actually called dresses, they're called those, but the fact that men can wear dresses too, and that's a-okay. So I think the discrimination really come from the outside, because if you look at a Muslim, they look different, right? But if you really just look at their heart and listen to them speak, we're truly all one people.
Absolutely. So I know in regards to dress, I think it's obvious with women more. I find that in a lot of in a lot of religions, the genders of men and women are separated, and they're separated and given their own spiritual purpose. And the way that religions demonstrate that religious purpose is through the clothes that they wear. And particularly with women the in the Muslim faith, I know there's a lot of the women wear like the I don't know what it's called, but it's the all black garb um that covers that's like head to toe. And then there's like the modern Muslims that just have the hijab and they wear like the regular clothes. I think with the men, I think they have like the puffy shirt and pants, with the I think like the big hats, or I know it's different. Can you just elaborate on that? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
you're very close. You're very close. So I'll start with men because that's easier. Like men, for the most part, yes, it's highly recommended that they just wear loose fitting clothes. So 9 out of 10 times, most Muslim men, you can tell that they're Muslim men because they wear baggy clothes on purpose. Because it's clothes really clothes are your protection. They literally are your garment. Because you were made uniquely beautiful from the inside and out. So men, simply wear either baggy clothes or long, like I was saying earlier, like dresses. Some of them have looks like dresses or long t-shirts, but they're called thobes. Women, on the other hand, because women are super amazing and super powerful, we birth humanity. Are We have choices as well as far as how modest we want to be, but there's lots of ranges from them. From the kneecap, which is the one that covers the face and only they only see the eyes. And then they have jilbabs or abayas, which are like long dresses or one size fits all type of dresses that could be worn. And then, yeah, there are others who will be like me to kind of wear it, backwards, or there are others who wear a hijab, which covers the neck, and you see the entire face, and they cover the neck. So there's different levels of modesty, and there are different choices of modesty for women as well. But it seems to be more women. Fashion. We want to be fashionable as well too. So there are different layers to how modest we will actually be when it comes to the actual garments.
I know particularly for the women, again, because I find that when it comes to a lot of religions, I find that the women's attire is more obvious, um, and therefore, I don't know if I want to say the women are more attacked, but um, what do you say to people saying that the attire that Muslims wear is is a representation of female oppression and sexual oppression, and it's a representation um, of submission, of female submission and male dominance.
Yes, so it's definitely an interesting thing about religions. Everyone has their own opinions about other religions than their own, right? But for me, just being a practicing Muslim, really the one of the five pillars of the religion of Islam is submitting to God. Like you're literally just submitting to God. The other oppression side of things, as far as the outfit goes, really men are not really supposed to control what a woman wears. However, sometimes that control tends to be too aggressive because they understand that as a man they're supposed to protect women. But sometimes it does go a little beyond what is supposed to be, and it does appear that way, at least from the outside looking in, of just literally controlling the woman and say, "Don't show off your figure," because sure, as a part of modesty, the figure is meant for the man behind closed doors. So, I mean, I think it's just sometimes ego gets in the way of it, which then comes into the form of abuse and oppression. But that's really not what Islam is about. So, anytime that topic does come up, um, I shake my head. It comes up a lot on social media. I shake my head, but it's only because I've witnessed it. I've seen what it's like from different cultures, also from the East culture. It's very different from whether you have generations of Muslim in your family or you just converted from Christianity. It's kind of like different points of view, but all in all, Islam is a very easygoing way of life, and there's no control, if that makes sense.
Have you ever experienced any type of discrimination personally?
Yeah, personally for me, it's been the hijab. The hijab is just the scarf. The head wrap is the curious point. For me, I think the first experiences I have, or I have had the experience of my scarf being pulled off, mainly by boys because they're so curious as to what's really under there. But the first real memories of discrimination and bullying, I would say, were really of my headscarf being pulled off, you know, out of just curiosity, really.
Can you talk about that? What happened? What were you feeling?
Yeah, so I mean, it was a shock to me, really, because here I am literally just minding my business, and then I think it was physical education period, PE, back in school. And I'm still, covered. I think I probably I was always a tomboy anyway growing up, but I think I would just kind of have like my own version of my physical education uniform, but I still would cover my hair. So I think I remember I was on the lockers, sorry, on the bleachers. One day I think we were taking attendance on one day, so we were just all the kids were just being kids until attendance was fully taken, and just really out of nowhere, a boy just really just ripped this scarf right off my head, and so naturally I freaked out. Um, Luckily my hair was done that day, so it's not like I was intimidated in that way, but it was very embarrassing because it's literally feels like um the Janet Jackson incident at the Super Bowl. You become naked in a way, and it does get embarrassing and humiliating to the point where you really just want to run away and never go back to that school again. But it was really a great teaching moment as well, because I think once I was able to calm down, it's really to educate them of, really respect me. Like respect me and understand why I am the way I am, why I do what I do, why I wear a hijab, why I wear a head wrap. So yeah, I think it was a roller coaster of emotion, but it definitely became a teaching moment. Of course, it never happened again, but at least the boy was able to ask questions like, "Why do you do it?" Um, and actually was able to apologize too. So yeah, education moments. I think that's knowledge is power. That's the key thing to any of these experiences.
Oh wait, so you educated the boy? What
I
do you?
sure did. I sure did. After I screamed and fussed, and I don't know if I did any physical violence, but after I screamed and fussed, I think I would calm down. I think I remember literally just saying, I am a Muslim. I wear a head guard because of modesty. It's a way of modesty to cover my hair because I am not my hair. Um, Being a Muslim is more about my character, of who I am as a person, as a woman, and I think his question was why can't you show your hair? And I'm like, because it's for my future husband. Of course, I was a teenager. I wasn't even thinking about getting married, but because the hair being shown is supposed to be for my future husband, not for you.
Uh, how old were you when this happened?
I think I was 13. I think I was 13. It was middle school, seventh or eighth grade. So yeah,
So that was a time of like puberty, and yeah, that's around puberty.
yeah, puberty. Puberty for sure. Of course, already kind of having that comparison syndrome, the beauty standards, right, on the girl side of things, and the boy just having that attraction, not knowing what to do with the attraction, and just bullying, right? So yeah, it's that age.
That's pretty interesting, yeah. So let's switch gears a bit. I'm gonna take a darker tone here. So in regards to okay, like men, well, in terms of like what are your thoughts about the portrayal of Islam in the media in terms of like suicide bombings and 9/11 and the war in Afghanistan, and then what's going on with the Taliban now? What are your thoughts about all that?
I will say that I've learned, I think, really after probably 9/11, or I don't know which one, but because it happens so much, I've learned to just tune out the news, because it's really just, if you're not literally studying the religious faith, if you're not literally having a conversation, asking open-ended questions to people of Muslim faith, it's like, who practice the religion of Islam, it's really all just assumption. Just like in any religion, you have the good and the bad, the jinns and the angels. So I think that's my opinion about it. I think it's literally just assumption being made, not proper conversation being had, just situations occurring and being misconstrued and miseducated. That's what I really think. It's really what starts it all. It's just not having the proper knowledge and the tools, or even the patience to understand, what's really supposed to be happening, what's really supposed to be the motive. Because that's the hard part. You don't separate the good with the bad, because in every religion you have a good person, you have a bad person, you have one that will practice the religion correctly, one that won't practice the religion correctly. So that's what I think. I think it's just a lack of education, and thank goodness, for social media now, a lot more Muslims are feeling more confident and comfortable and open with talking about their religious faith and educating along the way. So, yeah, I think it's just a big miseducation.
Right. And to add to that, it's also kind of people not separating the man from the religion, and that, oh, Islam is bad, and it's bombing all these people, and it's like, well, no, it's the evil in the people, that and they're using the rules of Islam to justify it. So it's
Absolutely.
also, people not seeing evil for evil, and just, they hear um, all the scriptures and the teachings that are chanted out, and they say, oh, it's the religion. Like, no, it's to see through that. And especially, and that's a good point, people don't know what Islam is, and so they just, oh, well, they just make an association, and boom, it's bad, as opposed to like looking at the person and looking at that person as being evil.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Just like I think if you would compare the experiences to if you had a bad experience with your parent, right? You would not associate parenthood with having a bad parent. I mean, it's just that person specifically, that person's experience. So that's exactly what it is. Just being able to disassociate, I think, will go a long way.
Mm. So let's, all right, so um, let's talk about, let's educate people on Islam. What are like some quick facts that you could share about the religion?
Great. Yeah. So Islam has five pillars. So the five basic things that would really declare you as a practicing Muslim. One, the number one thing, as we are in the month of April, which ironically it falls on the moon cycle. So it just happened to work out as it's the end of Lent for Christians and about to be Easter as well. And I think we're almost close to the Jewish holiday too. But it operates on the moon cycle. As a Muslim, you are to fast. Even if you medically, I don't fast. I'm a cancer survivor. I have autoimmune disease. I do not fast, but I do kind of almost an equivalent of the Christian faith, fast in other ways. Stop doing something, discipline yourself in another way. So fasting is one of them. Charity is another. So I think Muslim most definitely should be more portrayed in the media of how generous they really are. Uh, to the food, to homeless, to those who live poor, or less richer. Charity is super important. Another one is prayer. Muslims do pray 5 times a day, and if you're of good health, it's very simple kind of yoga style prayers, a great style of meditation 5 times a day, a minimum of 5 minutes a day. Another one is fulfilling a pilgrimage, where Muslims go to one place in Mecca, and it's kind of not far from Dubai, and they literally go, and it's a pilgrimage. You're literally making a pilgrimage, and then just really just learning and actually declaring that you're a Muslim is the first and foremost thing. So I think it's interesting between the five pillars. Those are the bare minimum, really, to consider yourself a practicing Muslim, and everyone practices differently, but those are the five things to really just kind of uh, define you as a Muslim and practicing the religion of Islam.
So when people say, is it like Allah Akbar, or the thing that they chant, or uh, I mean, forgive me from coming off rude. What is that? What are those chants?
Allahu Akbar, God is great, and that is your part of the declaration of that being a good, being a Muslim, and the other part is that Muhammad is my messenger. So it's Allahu Akbar, God is great, and um, Muhammad is my messenger. So there's a separate part that we always say in all of our prayers, which is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. So that's there is only one God but Allah, and Muhammad is the slave and messenger of God or Allah.
Ah, okay. And what about the greeting? Is a wassalam alaikum?
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you.
And then the other one is,
Wa alaikum salam to return the peace. Peace be with you as well.
oh, okay. So what what would you say to um because I don't know what it is like whenever these catastrophic events happen and there tends to be an ethnic group that is centered around it. There's a lot of discrimination that goes towards that ethnic group. Like, you know, what's going on with Ukraine now. There's all this discrimination and hatred going towards Russians. And when the coronavirus started, it was all this hate going towards like Chinese and any Asian really. When 9/11 happened, it was all that hate going towards Muslims. So what's your advice to anyone going through any kind of discrimination right now, whether that's, you know, being attacked or physically assaulted or denied any resources or any kind of discrimination? What advice would you give?
Um, I think I could say patience, prayer, and perseverance, because all of it leads to a purpose. So patience, prayer, and perseverance equals your purpose, really, because even though it's easy to when you're caught up in the moments of any kind of trauma to really just kind of ask yourself, why me? But really, there, I think in the end, it will pass, and there is a purpose in what you were specifically going through. And 9 out of 10 times, it's to educate and bringing up social media again because things are so open in social media, more people are aware. It truly is a time to educate once you're able to push past the pain as well. It's truly an option to really educate because it's a part of your purpose. You know, you went through something that not many people have gone through or would go through, and it's your time to really make that a part of your purpose and educate and push past the pain once you persevere and pray on it and keep the faith.
Right. So it's not, even though you may be going through what you're going through, it's not a reason to give up.
Never give up. No, never give up.
So now what about the media and the portrayal of Islam? What say you about that?
That's interesting because I too was a kind of am a media person, right? So I think I made that conscious decision to shine more positive lights by literally asking open-ended questions and talking to the um, the lesser known, right? So it's really humanity and media's vote together to really shine a positive light. But I know that it's sometimes a matter of feeding the dragon or feeding the snake and just kind of get whatever is quick to get attention, right? But I think for me, just having been in the media myself, I think for me, I just made the conscious decision to do truly be interested in people's stories, you know, what make them who they are. And but I think why there's such a negative portrayal of ethnicities and religions, I really just think it's just the you know, one of the seven deadly sins, really, that you're trying to feed on those versus, you know, thinking about legacy versus thinking about positivity versus actually educating and being educated.
Hmm. Right. You know, people don't really know what it is, and what they do know, they get from the media. And unfortunately, the media, it's mostly negative. So of course, I think there's a responsibility on the media to, you know, um, to balance the bad with the good. I know you can't be showing these negative portrayals all the time, and I mean at the same time it can't be all positive either. So Also you know, the there's a responsibility that the media has in terms of showing the right things to people, because this is it's like the first line of defense, not defense, but it's the first line of information that people get is from media outlets like the TV and newspapers and all that. So what do you say to that? That the media, people in the media have a responsibility to share the right information with people.
I agree. The media definitely has a responsibility. I agree that they should be responsible because, especially in the U.S., they actually have freedom of speech, right? Like, there's a lot of Eastern cultures and countries that don't have freedom of speech yet. Nigeria has Twitter banned, right? So, when you have the tools to be positive and make a difference, I know it's easier to do the opposite, but I feel like I would, if I could, encourage any media person listening or watching, is do your part of making a difference, making an impact, step outside of your own comfort zone, and try to be more positive and educate, rather than putting down, rather than throwing out inaccurate facts and just trying to get the next quick dollar.
Mm, that is true. That is very interesting indeed. Okay, so um, wait, what you have on your head right now? That's not a hijab, right?
No, it's a hijab. If I unravel it, it comes really long. So I think, with my Caribbean culture, I think I've gotten used to kind of wearing it almost looking like, I think some people thought I had locked because of the way that I just wrap it in the back, but it's so long that if I wanted to, I could wrap it, anyway, literally. But it is a hijab, and he died because of the way that it's worn. But by default, the English word for it is headscarf because you put it on your head and you wrap it anyway, covering your neck, covering your ears if you want, cover your face too if you want to as well. So because it's super long, it's a hijab and you can wear it any way you want to. But yeah, I like to use it as my hair. I think some women you've seen as a fashion style too. They kind of use it, make it like a braid and put a hat on top of their scarf to make it look like hair as well. So that's the fun part about having a hijab. It can be fashionable. You can be fashionable too.
All right. Would you consider yourself a modern Muslim?
Mm, I think there was a joke that my dad had told my mom when I was younger and first really I just got puberty, and I think as a woman you're not required to cover your hair until you hit puberty, and so for a while I would what my dad would call a convertible with it, right? I would say, yeah, I'll cover my hair, I won't cover my hair, I cover my hair today, I won't cover my hair today. So I think for me I'm starting to become more secure in myself, and um I guess you could say more modernized, because I am also finally also stepping out of my time for his fashion, because any day I would be like a Leah, have my baggy jeans and my heels, but still just want to be comfortable. But yeah, I think modern, flexible Muslim, at least from the outside looking in. Yeah.
Mm. And what do you say to people that again, bringing up like sorry, again bringing up like the sexual oppression and that they just look at Muslim women as just being these submissive beings with no thought of independence, and they're just kind of there at the man's mercy. What do you say to those people?
I think the first thing I really want to say is educate yourself because the prophets, peace be upon him, had multiple wives over the course of a period of time, and all of his wives were super powerful, super amazing, were businesswomen, and even if they were unable to be mothers through birth, they were mothers, and women are really the backbone for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I think that's just where, again, miseducation, just because it seems like that a woman is really in the background of, Muslim men, they're literally running the house. They're probably the CFOs of the man's business. So I think it's just a miseducation. And again, when ego gets in the way, you may have seen that Muslim man on a bad day, and the abuse involved because of his upbringing or whatever he's going through. But honestly, in the religion of Islam, Muslim women are put on such a high pedestal because they truly are, not only give birth to humanity, but keep humanity going. So I think it just, educate yourself. Start with, go to a website called Islamic City, ISLAMICITY.org. And there's another website called Yaqeen, WAQUEEN institute, and just educate yourself from those who actually are actively, it's their purpose in life to teach, not just teach women, but teach about women as well, because I think that's just what it is. A big misunderstanding.
That's a fair point. And I know we're supposed to be talking about discrimination, but it's interesting how these conversations go. And of course, it's is the why one of the things that this happens is people don't really understand what Islam is, and what they learn about it again is through negative portrayals on the media. But if we actually take a moment and educate people, and um and also, and particularly with women, covering the head, is not it's not sexual oppression. It's just maybe, what would you call it? Would you call it like,
I call it modesty. Yeah, I call it modesty because because there's so many facets. Women are multifaceted, that I think the word is really modesty. Yes, the woman will cover her hair, wear loose clothing, cover her entire face except for her eyes, because you should focus on either that woman's voice, that woman's knowledge, more than the woman's beauty and what the woman's beauty or body can do for that man, right? So that's what I think. It's more of modesty and humbleness in a way, not necessarily shrinking, but be humble and modest, because women are that powerful that it goes beyond beauty. And because we all know how men are, if they are visual creatures, that it's kind of like a way to also discipline their eyes as well, to not be so focused on trying to figure out um what shape she got and what can her body do for me. So I think it's really just, the word is really modesty. That's the main purpose and reason for the woman choosing to cover up.
hmm. And yeah, it's and I know some women, they may see it as, oh, it's an act of oppression, but you're saying it's modesty. Don't focus on my body, focus on my mind, focus on my words. It's not about what I look like. It's about who I am. And so cover up all those, I don't want to say all, I guess all those visual parts, or all the parts that tend to be attractive, like a woman's body shape, a woman's hair. Um, that's one of the interesting things about Islam, particularly when it comes to women, is they emphasize. I mean, I know there's different types, but they tend to emphasize on being modest and covering up, to focus on who the person is, and not so much about the body shape.
Absolutely, yeah, and that also goes hand in hand with marriage aspect. Marriage is also highly recommended in the religion of Islam as well, because so many marriages that do last for so long, not because they married someone who looked good, right? Because actually, at least in it's still pretty relevant, but at least in the old days of Islam, there were a lot of arranged marriages where the couple didn't even meet until one day. So what are you supposed to do about that? Just because they're brought together because of the woman's knowledge, probably because of the woman's wealth, but also the woman's character. So I think the same still applies to this day of don't focus on the beauty because that will change. The character and the knowledge is the one thing that will continue to keep that man's businesses and goals and aspirations going and birth that nation of the children if they choose to have children. So I think it really just goes hand in hand. That modesty also plays in the role of marriages because sometimes, yes, marriages. Tend to, if they go in with the intention of beauty of like, oh, we're gonna look so good together on social media, um, it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. So the same thing of the intention for modesty. If you're being modest intentionally because you know that you want to enhance or discipline your character, I think they go hand in hand, the modesty and the marriage aspect as well in the religion of Islam.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. So now what about I don't know if you could talk about like the history with like Malcolm X and like the claim that the people, I mean, it's not the faith, but um, how Muslims feel about Malcolm X.
Yeah, so it's interesting because there's so many different portrayals about Malcolm X, right? But what would have to be is we really need to look at the autobiography of Malcolm X, um, because what happens is, unfortunately, because just like every other religion, there's some kind of subgroups, right? Everybody decides to separate themselves. But what happens is when the Nation of Islam wants to separate itself from the version of Islam that's actually in our holy book of the Quran, I think that's where it kind of gets again misconstrued. I think now a few people associate Malcolm X with violence, right? But you can't really put that together because that's not Islam. That was just Malcolm X, right? That was just Malcolm X's upbringing experiences being a New Yorker, or going, spending his last few days in New York. And I think that's just another one of the things of you see the religion, you see the man, you see what was said about him or her, even for other political figures, and it's just people trying to connect that without knowing the truth or the backstory. So I think when it comes to Malcolm X, all I can really say is just read the book or listen to the book, the autobiography of Malcolm X, to really know um, really to separate the religion from the man.
That is wonderful advice. And speaking of advice, we could keep chopping it up, but we gotta wind it down now. So, what do you have any final words of advice that you would like to share with the viewers?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about the religion of Islam, especially if you're curious about the holy month of Ramadan, you probably have seen it on the news and you're curious to know more about it. I actually have a podcast. I did a podcast episode about it. Actually, it was an interview with my dad who converted to the religion of Islam. And that's a great start if you want to start with just, how can you really learn more? Is it okay if I go ahead and share that right now?
Sure. Go ahead
Okay,
and share that.
let me try to get a little tech savvy here. And I'm going to, for those who are watching, of course, I'm going to share the name of my podcast is called See Life Different. And the episode is actually from way, way back, but it's called Islam, a Way of Life. I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but it's called Islam, a Way of Life. And that was the episode. Yep, here you go. Episode I did with my dad, and I really broke it all the way down. Before bringing in my dad in the conversation, I talked about, the real basis of the religion of Islam and the holy month of fasting and some celebrity Muslims that you may know. And then my dad talked about his story. So I think it's a very insightful episode of, how to really get started to continue to educate yourself about the religion of Islam.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And and just quickly, anything in regards to, I love how we just kind of went into a whole educational thing, which brings you to the point. One thing, a way to combat discrimination is with education. So what, any final advice you want to give about discrimination in general, discrimination in terms of Islam or any kind of religion, anyone going through any kind of discrimination right now, or
Yeah.
target or hate crimes or any like targeting attacks.
Yeah, I think lead with love and there will n- not be hate. I think I'll say that. Lead with love and there will not be hate. And not just for my religion of Islam, not just for Christianity, but there's also different levels of spirituality as well. I think everyone is really truly discovering themselves a lot quicker than expected, especially because of the pandemic. So, lead with love, listen with love, and there will be less hate.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right, Zaakirah, thank you so much. So let me put up your banner here. And you guys, so Zaakirah is on that social media. You can find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. She just said she got a podcast, so she is everywhere. And if you want to reach out to her, if you have any questions, feel free to contact her on social media. And she has a website for her business, zakirahnair.com. Zaakirah, can you talk about your business?
Yes. So mostly now I consider myself a creative tech consultant, but I'm also an author. And with being an author came a podcaster. So I also have briefly shared my story, not just as a cancer survivor, not just as an entrepreneur. And I talk to just kind of other women as well, and just kind of get that story of what makes them unique and how they've been able to fulfill their legacy and see life differently and literally operate life outside of their own comfort zone. So, See Life Different is also the name of my podcast, and you can listen to that anywhere. Pandora, Spotify, Apple. The website I briefly showed you, if you were looking, was podchaser.com. And you can listen to the episode there as well and see other episodes that I've been a guest podcast of as well. And yeah, book, podcast, marketing, and creative tech consultant. I'm all around creative. That's me.
All right, so you guys heard it. She's all around creator. So if you are looking for her services, definitely reach out to her. Her contact information is scrolling in the scrolling marquee below at the bottom of your screen. So I encourage you to reach out to her if you are seeking them services. And for those of you watching this on our YouTube channel, the information is also in the description. And she talked about the podcast earlier. So this is the link to her podcast. It's on many platforms. So it's not just this one, but it's also on. Well, you tell us, Zaakirah, where can people listen to your podcast?
Yes, I think the easiest is Apple Podcasts, because you don't have to log into that one. But you can also, if you are still a fan of Spotify, I know it was in the news for a bit. It's on Spotify, it's on Pandora, but you can also see it on my website as well, zakirahnair.com/podcast. And but Podchaser, the website that's right down here, is all things podcast. So you'll see my episode, you'll see the episodes I've been on, and you just this is the favorite place to go down a rabbit hole of podcasts.
All right, so if you guys want to go down a rabbit hole, definitely go to that link that is scrolling below And again, it will be in the description for those watching this on our YouTube channel. All right, Zaakirah, thank you so much for joining me once again.
It's been an honor. Three-part series, and I feel like we're closer than ever by now.
I know, right? Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again, and thank you for, coming on for a third time. This was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so
All
much.
righty. All right, we'll put you backstage now. And it's just you and me, guys. So let me put up my banner. All righty. And you guys, we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. So wherever you are watching this episode, please check out our social media for more videos and clips. And don't forget to follow us. And while you're at it, let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comments section below or in the comment thread. I would love to hear your thoughts about the episode. And as a reminder, this web series is a production of A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you would like to learn more about our tutoring services, the information is scrolling below at the bottom of your screen, but I will say the website. The website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. And as you can see from our scrolling marquee, we are on a lot of platforms. So definitely check out all of those platforms and follow us. Follow us, like us, subscribe to us, whatever the button is. Definitely stay in touch with us. And I also encourage you to sign up for our email list and or our texting list. When you join those things, you will receive exclusive access to our promotions, our discounts, and our special events. So I definitely encourage you to sign up for our email list and or our texting list. And that information, again, is also scrolling below in the scrolling marquee. And it is also provided to you in the description for our YouTube viewers. All right, I'm going to share this final message before we officially close.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider making a donation to our company. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, put on productions like this web series, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. Note: we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
Alrighty, so definitely we will appreciate your gifts, your financial support. So please make that donation today. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. And now I am signing off. Bye.